What's up, Bills Mafia? Welcome back to the channel where we break down the latest and biggest Buffalo Bills news every single day. As we gear up for what could be a defining offseason for our team, the Bills are laser focused on improving and making the right moves to bring the first ever Super Bowl trophy to Buffalo. And let's be real, if we want to take that next step, we have to fix some key weaknesses on the roster. One of the biggest issues from last season, the secondary. Could the Bills' next defensive playmaker come from an AFC East rival? That's exactly what we're talking about today. But before we get started, do me a favor. Smash that like button to support the channel. Hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss an update. Turn on notifications because we've got breaking news coming all off season long. Alright, let's get into it. If we're being honest, the Bills' secondary was a roller coaster last season. We had some great moments, but also some games where opposing quarterbacks carved us up like a Thanksgiving turkey. The biggest issue? Consistency. And now, heading into 2025, we're facing a major question mark at cornerback. Here's the situation. Rasul Douglas is hitting free agency. The Bills traded for him in 2023, and while he had some bright spots, his play declined last season. Tre'Davious White is no longer here. Injuries unfortunately took their toll, and Buffalo moved on. Christian Benford has potential, but isn't a true CB1. Kaya Elam hasn't developed into the shutdown corner the Bills hope for. Bottom line, the Bills need to add talent at cornerback, and one intriguing option comes from the New England Patriots. Now, this is where things get interesting. According to Brandon Ray of Buffalo Down, the Bills could look to steal veteran cornerback Jonathan Jones from the Patriots. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Wait a minute. Jonathan Jones didn't have a great 2024. Why should Buffalo be interested? And you're not wrong, Jones definitely had a down year. He gave up 7 touchdowns, which isn't ideal. He hasn't recorded an interception in 2 seasons. The Patriots' defense as a whole struggled in 2024, making it tough to evaluate individual players. But here's why Jones could still make sense for Buffalo. Jones isn't some random corner. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion who played under one of the best defensive minds in NFL history, Bill Belichick. That kind of championship experience is valuable, especially on a team like Buffalo that is trying to take that next step in the playoffs. One of Jones's best qualities? His versatility. He's spent time as an outside corner, but he's also been one of the better slot corners in the NFL when needed. That kind of flexibility could be huge for a Bills team that needs to add depth and coverage options. Look, the Bills aren't working with a ton of cap space this offseason. Jones is 31 years old, meaning he won't demand a massive contract. If Buffalo can bring him in on a short-term, low-cost deal, it would allow them to invest in other areas, like a WR1 to replace Stephon Diggs or help on the defensive line. Would Jones be the fix to all of Buffalo's cornerback issues? No. But if the Bills sign Jones and another top-tier corner, suddenly this secondary looks a lot better. Now, while Buffalo could look at Jones, the biggest name in their secondary right now is Rasul Douglas. And he's going to have options in free agency. According to Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox, Douglas is ranked number 17 overall on his free agency big board. Knox had this to say. Douglas wasn't nearly as dependable for the Bills this past season as he was in 2023. He did start 15 games but allowed an opposing passer rating of 122.0 in coverage. However, he made enough plays, including 5 passes defended and 5 tackles for loss, not to completely erase the resume he built 2 years ago. Let's not forget what Douglas did in 2023. Opposing QB rating when targeted, 38 out of 6. One of the best in the league. Played through a torn MCL and still performed at a high level. The problem, Tua at down 24 was a different story. Now Buffalo has to decide, is Douglas worth another contract? If the Bills don't want to pay his $7 million per year price tag, another team will gladly scoop him up. The Bills front office has some big choices to make. Do they re-sign Rasul Douglas and hope he bounces back? Do they go after a cheaper veteran like Jonathan Jones? Do they make a splash in free agency and go for a top-tier CB? Or do they draft a young cornerback in April? One thing's for sure, Buffalo can't afford to ignore the secondary. This team has Super Bowl potential, but if the defense can't hold up against the top QBs in the AFC, it's going to be another season of heartbreak. Let's talk about the numbers real quick. James Cook wasn't just good last season, he was elite. 267 yards from scrimmage, 18 total touchdowns, most in the AFC Pro Bowl selection for the second straight year. This wasn't just a solid season. It was the kind of year that makes a running back a franchise cornerstone. And remember, Cook did all this as a lead back in Joe Brady's everybody eats offense, where touches were spread around. Imagine what he could do if he got even more volume. The bottom line, James Cook is special, which brings us to the big question. How much should the Bills pay him? The contract drama begins now. This is where things get a little messy. After Cook's breakout season, fans expected the Bills to start extension talks. But instead of waiting for negotiations, Cook made a bold move. He dropped a comment on social media hinting at a $15 million per year demand. And if that wasn't enough, he scrubbed most of his Bills-related posts from Instagram. That's a classic negotiation tactic that we've seen from other star players before. But let's be real, $15 million per year is a lot for a running back. Right now, only a handful of RBs in the entire league make that kind of money. Christian McCaffrey, $16 million per year. Alvin Kamara, $15 million per year. Derrick Henry, $12, $5 per year. So the question is Cook worth that kind of payday? And if the Bills don't pay him, will he hold out or demand a trade? This is where NFL contract expert Michael Giannitti of Spotrac comes in with a recommended deal that could make both sides happy. The proposed contract, fair or not? Michael Giannitti knows the salary cap inside and out, and here's what he says. The Bills have around 8 players eligible and worthy of a contract extension this winter. But Cook might become the most sensible priority. Paying above average running backs as early as possible seems to be the best path forward based on age shelf life. Translation? If the Bills are going to pay Cook, they should do it now, before his value gets even higher. So what kind of deal? You make sense? According to Giannitti, the best comparison for Cook's contract is Josh Jacobs, Packers RB, former Raiders star, Saquon Barkley, Giants Super Bowl winning RB. That means Cook could get a 4-year deal worth around $41 million. That's a lot less than $15 million per year, but it still gives Cook security with a long-term deal, top 10 RB money, a chance to keep building his legacy in Buffalo. The big question is, will Cook accept this deal, or will he keep pushing for more? And more importantly, should the Bills even pay this much for a running back? Should Buffalo invest in a running back? Now, let's take a step back and talk big picture. Running backs are valuable, but we've seen time and time again that NFL teams don't like paying them big money. Here's why. RBs have short careers. Most start declining by age 28. Cheaper options are always available. Just look at how many good RBs get drafted every year. Super Bowl teams don't usually have high-paid RBs. Kansas City won back-to-back titles without a star RB. So if you're the Bills, do you really commit to a big money RB contract? On one hand, yes, Cook is a game changer and one of the best offensive weapons Buffalo has. On the other hand, is paying a running back smart when you need to build around Josh Allen? This is why Brandon Beane has a huge decision to make. All right, now it's time to hear from you, Bills Mafia. Do you think Jonathan Jones would be a good addition for Buffalo? Should the Bills re-sign Rasul Douglas or let him walk? Who's your dream free agent corner for the Bills this offseason? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We've got a crazy offseason ahead, and I'll be here to break down every single move. That's it for today. Go Bills!